John Cena wins an historic 17th World Championship at WrestleMania. And Paul Heyman betrays both Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And so you can see the thumbnail there. He's aligned with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. And on Raw, Bron Breakker joins the act as well. Have we got a new Dangerous Alliance on the way in WWE? We're going to be discussing both WrestleMania Vegas Night 1 and Night 2 and Raw After Mania in our podcast form of a review. So thank you for joining myself, Steve and Erik, Steve in house. You're with us live on YouTube. Make sure to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Help the algorithm nice and early. And as well as that, you can follow myself on Instagram, SCW the Wrestling Channel, and as well as TikTok as well. The main man next to me, Erik Steve, also releasing content on TikTok. So make sure to give us a follow over there. Erik Steve, welcome to the show. We're going to get into some comments as well. But first off, I want your overall view of WrestleMania 41.
Probably won't be remembered as one of the greatest WrestleManias. This will probably be remembered more for moments than I think the show itself.
That's a fair comment to make. For me, I'm going to say that I reckon at least half of the matches were fantastic. I really enjoyed quite a number of the matches on the show, particularly the main event portion of night 1 and the undercard version of night 2. Those things in particular were spectacular. But there are going to be some bits that I'm going to say, wasn't quite a fan of that. So look forward to us dissecting some of this as well and perhaps showing where maybe it could be improved. But let's dive straight into it, I guess, then. The most important talking point is John Cena, so let's dive into that one first, and then we can go in chronological order everywhere else. So first and foremost, John Cena, of course, did come out to an interesting entrance with his normal entrance attire, entrance theme music, but the whole Tron was blacked out. I thought that was a nice touch for his character.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, it just gave me NWO vibes. I thought it was great. And the fact that even the name placard that comes up on the screen is literally just text, there's no design, everything, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely, indeed. And Cody Rhodes, of course, had the song and dance of all the motorcycles, had like the felt like Avengers mask on as well. Obviously, saw his wife and daughter in the crowd, his mum as well. So Cody had all the bells and whistles going on for his entrance.
Yeah. The skull mask, although it was still better than last year's one, still corny as hell, man. Like, I appreciate that someone's gone through the whole design process of deconstructing one and then putting that thing together. It looked all right, but it felt very like this whole show, when it comes to entrances, felt like they blew the budget on one person and not everyone else. Like, for instance, Jacob Fatu, no bells and whistles. He had some weird generic mask, and yet, like, LA Knight comes out in this like $300,000 Maserati or something, and it just seemed like you got special treatment or you didn't, and it was like there was a set budget and it was just blown on one person more than both of them equally.
It is so true. How it is with some of the cases. I mean, particularly Jey Uso Gunther is another prime example of those entrances as well. But what did you think when we got into the start of the match then? Because, like, obviously, John Cena was very slow paced. Dare I say, he was calling out moves quite loud and audible in the ring for everyone to hear. I don't know if that was the kind of thing of this is our next spot, or if he's actually just trying to take the mick and ruin wrestling like he promised for fans.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really be fair with him. It's pretty much a standard John Cena match. Like, there's been so many times before where he's been critiqued for doing the audible calls, and like the guy in the seventh row can hear him doing it. And for me in general, this felt just like pretty much like a John Cena match. I mean, like the commentary, bless him, tried to sell it as something special. I think the only thing I saw that was any different from a normal John Cena match was that he removed the turnbuckle cover.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I liked how at the start of the match as well, he went out of the ring as well, like he was delaying the lockups in places as well. He did have he had the generic heel work going on. I like the fact as well, like the 5 moves of doom. Usually, when he sort of goes into like doing these like shoulder bars set up for the 5-knuckle shuffle, that stuff was all done in slow pace as well. I don't know if that was kind of like intentionally trying to wind the crowd up or not.
I mean, maybe. I mean, ultimately, like, I wasn't expecting a 5-star classic with this, and
me neither.
Cena is trying to deliver something different. This is obviously, it's been a long time since he's had to portray a heel. Like, obviously, we're talking Chengan Cena was the last time he was a proper heel, and so 20-something years later, and it's like, how do you change your wrestling style for 6 months just to wrestle differently? And it's kind of if the only thing you can really do is slow up the pace, I mean, it's probably the best we're going to get, so I can't really be too overcritical about it.
Yeah, I understand your point of view with that. I mean, like for me, the match was so, and I think like once it's got to the point where we see the ref bump, we know then something interesting is going to happen. Everyone starts looking to the curtain. Who's going to come out? Is it going to be The Rock? Is it going to be with Travis Scott? It turned out it was just Travis Scott. Obviously, leading up to that ref bump as well, obviously, Cody was kicking out of attitude adjustments as well. One of them was an avalanche attitude adjustment, which was quite quickly covered and quite quickly kicked out. And I'd like to have seen a bit of a sell more before going into a cover. That's me nitpicking. Look, it's two WrestleMania main eventers here, and it's me giving advice. But at the same time, I just feel like it felt a bit rushed to not give the attitude adjustment I suppose the credit it deserves as a finishing move. It's put a lot of people away over the years. But at the same time, what I would say is obviously John Cena's not won a singles match for 8 years at this point.
Something like that,
something like that. 7, 8 years. It's, I think 2018, so 7 years. So in a way, I suppose it's not going to be as effective. Maybe it's going to need something more. And obviously, when the ref had been knocked down, that's when Cody hit his crossroads. It looked like he had the clean victory. Travis Scott came out to ringside, of course, as well. And it was, I just feel to myself that Travis Scott getting involved was a thing of like, why did he need to be there? It felt like it was just a viral thing. I know he was linked in with the Elimination Chamber, but what's Travis Scott without The Rock to you? Does it make sense that you got one, not the other? And if you were going to have one, should it have been The Rock?
I mean, ultimately, it should have been The Rock. But the problem I have is that, look, I mean, I listened to the Rock interview on the Pat McAfee show, and he turns around like, oh, Travis Scott is a big, massive wrestling fan, and like he's a big superstar. It's like, yeah, but why does that automatically mean he needs to be in that spot? I'm a massive wrestling fan. Should I be in that spot? If anything, I'm probably a bigger wrestling fan because I've been watching it longer than him. Can't I be in that spot instead? And it's like the fact that he gets a WrestleMania entrance as well. It's not even like he comes out with Cena. He gets the music, he gets the entranceway, he gets a Titantron package, and it just like you're sitting there thinking, okay, we've got Travis Scott. Surely The Rock's going to come out now, and we don't get The Rock, and it's. I'm going to yin and yang this, right? So in terms of a finish, it's horrific. And it's horrific for the basis that everyone fondly remembers last year's WrestleMania. And last year's main event on night 2 was everything. Bells, whistles, and everything else. You get 3 or 4 interruptions. I mean, massive pops, Undertaker returns, great crowd reactions. This year we get Travis Scott. And for a main event, it underperforms because the first thing everyone does is go, well, compared to last year, that was absolutely garbage. In terms of a result, though, as much as I thought Cody winning would make a lot more sense, Cena winning is the right decision at the end of the day. It's just not been done in the way I think most people wanted it to do. And then, like I said, you have Travis Scott in this spot where people wanted The Rock. And again, going back to this Pat McAfee interview, when he turns around and says, well, I was only at Chamber because they were struggling to sell tickets. So they put me on the card for it. And I'm like, okay, but WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year. And I'm kind of getting to the point now where I'm like, if you're not going to bring The Rock up, don't bring him back anymore. Because you've kind of already done the damage with that. We need to now move on. Go on to Cena being 17th time champion with his 20-something dates left, and just forget it. Because for the last 2 days, all it's been was, where's The Rock? Where's The Rock? Where's The Rock? Obviously, they don't care. If they did, he would have been involved in this. And I know that he sits there and turns around and goes, well, it was never really the plan. And it's like, but there is creative there for it. You could, like, The Rock sitting again, well, where do we go from there? Well, obviously, Cody Rock is a match. But if you don't want to do Cody Rock, then just don't bring The Rock back. Because you've already kind of tarnished this WrestleMania by not doing it. And then the fact that they've got Rock merch that says, and finally The Rock comes back to Las Vegas, but he doesn't. He's not there. He doesn't come out. And the fact that you're selling a $35 T-shirt saying he comes back to Vegas, I just think is a bit of an outrage. So although I am overly critical, the result is the right thing to do. It's just the way they've gone around it. And like I said, when you compare it to last year's main event, last year's was phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? Are we like sat there and Mount Rushmore it as one of the greatest Final Four matches or top 10 like main event WrestleMania matches of all time? And this, although I don't think makes the 10 worst WrestleMania main events, I just think this could have been done a hell of a lot better, because I think we were expecting bells and whistles and everything, and we kind of just got nothing really. We got a guy that already has a bad stigma about him because of what he did at Elimination Chamber, giving Cody a burst eardrum and a black eye. And although he does bring the right kind of heel heat, he kind of also brings go away heat, and no one really wants to see this guy at the minute. And the fact that The Rock's like, oh, well, he's training Booker T. I honestly don't want to see the guy in the ring anyway, because he already gives me bad vibes. I don't want to see him if he can't throw a kayfabe punch and legitimately hits your champion around the side of the head and injures him with the potential of missing WrestleMania. That guy shouldn't be anywhere near a ring, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the thoughts of a lot of that. They obviously Travis did eat at Crossroads as well, and for me, I hope that ends that. Like, that's the receipt got back. I hope that that's done. But at the same time, obviously, it plays into a factor then when we get Cody and we get John Cena, obviously, and it's a moment where Cena exposes the turnbuckle while Cody is dealing with Travis Scott, and obviously has the championship belt as well. Goes to try and hit Cody with it. Cody manages to get the title. Cena kind of cowards away a little bit. Don't hit me, don't hit me. And it's that moment there where Cena said, you're going to have to cheat to win. You're going to have to do something bad if you want to win. Cody was conflicted. Even though he'd already sort of technically morally had already won the match, but no referee was around, he still didn't want to cheat. And for that reason, he didn't do it. And that's when Cena kicked him in the balls. And from that moment onwards, obviously, Cena would go and pick up the victory. Then we're using the championship belt, which is obviously John Cena, the heel, winning the title, being a heel, I suppose, in a way. That's kind of cool. Look, it's not what I predicted I thought would happen. I said I thought John Cena was going to ruin wrestling, and that was going to take away everything that people wanted, which was everyone wanted him to win that 17th world title. Well, fool that I was, because he did do it. And to be fair, it's the result I wanted to see, even though I didn't think it would happen. And let's be honest, it is the biggest stage to do it on. WrestleMania, you only have that opportunity once. It's the only day of the year of the biggest show. Where else is he going to win it? Yes, I suppose he could win it on SummerSlam, his last match and stuff like that. But here, we've got a chance to see what John can actually do with that world title now. And he has said now he's counting down dates and how he's the last real champion, how he's going to take that away from him, and how he's not stupid enough to think, well, look, I know you're not going to not have a champion. It's just that it's not going to be the real champion. I'm the real champion because no one beat me for it. And it's just said, I've done the hard work. The hard part was winning the title. It's just easy now. And you say I can't wrestle? I don't have to. I just have to make appearances. That's all I've done. I'm not doing 27 more matches.
And this is what I do like about this, is the fact that we have a countdown clock, essentially. We have a Millennium countdown clock. And this gives me Punk vibes when he left and came back as the cult of personality Punk. When he left, beating Cena, blowing Vince a kiss, walking off with that title. This has the potential to be not better than, but something along the same lines. And everyone is very fond of that CM Punk storyline. Now that I'm really intrigued by and how they do it, and the fact that he's going to come out every week and he's just going to bring up a clock, and that number is just going to tick down in appearances for every time he comes out. And I think that's fantastic, because we know that we're getting closer and closer to that point. Ultimately, I think that, like I said this to you off air, I find it stupid that Cena is retiring in December. I think if you're a professional wrestler in the biggest company, why would you blow out in December when they don't even have like a established pay-per-view that they do in December of year? So it just seems kind of weird. So for me, I reckon they could do essentially the same as Punk, have him leave and come back and push it to Mania next year. So I think that's still a possibility, because he's only got to go an extra 4 months. So why the hell not? It's not like it's not a possibility. And like I said, having seen a blowout in December just seems really, really weird. You normally would have him go out on the biggest stage of them all. So I still think that's a possibility. Then you had, like I said, you have this whole countdown thing. And the other thing I did love about this, which goes back to Chamber as well, is that he hit Cody with the title once, and once was enough to put him down. That in itself is old school kayfabe vibes. Because how many times do we see people get, like, we saw 3 or 4 finishes in this match by each person, and it didn't keep them down. But one title shot very old school kayfabe vibes, and I'm loving that because it's almost making like that title is a point to this storyline. That Cena has used it twice to take Cody out. Well, did it once after after Elimination Chamber. He hit him with once. Cody stayed down. He used it in this match. Cody stayed down and he lost the title. And so I'm loving that dynamic from it. Like I said, we're past Mania now. We just need to honestly don't bring the Rock back and move on with it. I think this could be a lot of fun with Cena. They just like I'm done with the Rock. I don't want to see him no more because clearly when they bring him back, they either don't have anything for him or he's not available for anything. He comes back as one-off appearances, or like we've just found out, he's used as a cheap plug to sell tickets for shows. I don't want that. Forget it now. I'm done with Rock. I don't want to see Rock versus Cody. I'm done with it at all. If he didn't do it at WrestleMania, then I'm done with it. I don't want it at all.
No, I totally get your point of view with that, and especially with the fact that it feels a little bit like that SmackDown before WrestleMania, it felt like that Cena was trying to explain, like, look, I didn't kind of sell the soul to The Rock. It's more a case of like, it was a situation of like, it's all to do with the fans, and you left yourself open and vulnerable in that moment that you said to The Rock where to go, and you said you had given yourself to the fans, and that's when he knew that Cody was weak and that he knew he would be able to win the match. He didn't feel he had a chance before that moment, so it's kind of like he's explained everything there. The problem with The Rock is that they gave us the visual. Once you have Rock and Cena next side by side, and Travis Scott was just randomly there as well, you just think, and then all this question of who's the third man for the last 2 weeks. Look, that's fan speculation. That's our fault. But at the same time, you come to an expectancy, and that's a disappointment. Like you say, if he's not going to be there, let's forget about him. Let's move on then with what we've got currently moving forward. It's like you say, what we got now with Cena could be a lot of fun.
There's a lot of things from WrestleMania that wrestling fans in general have willed into an existence where they like clearly WWE had no clue with it. Like for instance, Bianca Belair having an undefeated streak at WrestleMania. I know she doesn't. Does she take the pin? I can't even remember if she takes the pin in the match or not.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's something she brought in. She was like, I'm 2-0, 3-0, whatever. And everyone was like, oh yeah, but she's on a win. She's on an undefeated streak at WrestleMania. It's like, no, that's something Bianca's done. No, I don't recall at any point, unless it was like a statistic that was read out, where they've emphasized the point she's undefeated at WrestleMania. And this third man thing, again, it's an internet wrestling community thing. This is something people have brought in. And it's same with like the Rock's hand gestures. Like, oh, when he did it, the 3, and then he did the 2 at Chamber, and it's like, it's probably just nothing at all. We're probably just overtly reading into it too much that the Rock's just trying to be, do you know what I mean? He's trying to be expression. They're trying to show expression in what's happening in this moment. It probably doesn't mean anything at all, but you know, as everyone loves to do, we like to blow things out the water and like add bells and whistles to it, and it probably is nothing. It probably will never be nothing. And I think that's the thing that people need to move past, is just forget the minor details, because clearly it's not a thing.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be a thing moving forward, and if they're going to, they might revisit it long down the line, but we would have no longer cared about it by the time it comes back. Yeah. So it's kind of like let's focus on the here and the now. But I think all in all, as a finishing note of the match itself, disappointing, but I don't think we expected 5-star classic either. So that same point, it's not like I was expecting to be match of the weekend. It was more for the story and the buzz of that side of it more than anything. But I think now that we have Cena as a champion, I'm excited to see where it's going to be moving forward. It's the more interesting of the two routes. So let's see where it's going to lead to next. Randy Orton clearly is going to be the guy after Raw, after Mania, getting involved. We're seeing the same. No one's got the ruthless aggression he does. Well, Randy does. Another fantastic RKO and camera work done to promote it as well. Interesting to see Orton versus Cena in 2025, by the way. And you mentioned CM Punk earlier in the video. I just want to mention quickly as an early prediction, I think we're getting Cena versus Punk at Money in the Bank once again in LA. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cena being the one doing the kiss through the crowd this time around. Look, there's some fan speculation for you. Blame us IWC all the time.
But it makes sense. It has a point to it. And like, yeah, man. I mean, dude, they've got to play off these little stories. It'd just be so much nostalgia and fun and tidbits to have Cena almost get his comeuppance against all these people that have done him wrong over the years, like CM Punk and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, what was the other thing I was going to say? I was on the train of thought as well. But yeah, no, dude, I agree. I think that would be, I would think that would be fantastic. And I think, that was my other point as well. Thinking about it now, going back logically to predictions, I should have picked John Cena to win this, because if Cody does win this, this cements Cody as the new quote unquote John Cena. And if he'd have won this, there's no point Cena being around for the next 6 months. Whereas now, Cena has that title till December, apparently. I believe Cody will ultimately be the one to take that title back off of him. And that at that point, that cements Cody as the quote-unquote new John Cena.
Does he have to cheat to do it?
I don't think he does, because he's meant to be top babyface. Top babyfaces don't cheat. I reckon, like I said, he'll be exactly like WrestleMania 40, and he'll have to go through tooth and nail, but he'll do it the honest way. He'll hit 3 crossroads, and he'll win that title back.
I would not be surprised to see Cody be the one to dethrone John Cena later on, further down the line, like you shout for it. And no surprises that we've got a lot of comments that have come flying in. We're going to get our best to get what we can up on the screen. As you imagine, we've got a lot to get through as well. So, yeah, but I will take this one as it's right in front of me right here, right now. Jonesy asking the question, do you think that The Rock should have come out before Mania, making it clear he won't be there at all? If the whole storyline was nothing, why did Travis Scott come out and Cena could cheat to win on his own? And he basically says that Travis Scott is carrying the whole Elimination Chamber storyline. I don't think The Rock should have come out and said anything before Mania, because that just kills the buzz. I mean, like, again, it's fan speculation. It's for us to determine whether he's going to be there or not, speculate yes or no. Yes, it can lead to disappointment to some section of the fan base, but at the same time, that's for us for buying into something that we haven't been told or promised, because we weren't told either he was going to be there. Why come and say you're not going to be there if you're not going to say you are going to be there?
Forwards card subject to change. And it's not the first time we've been disappointed with someone's going to be there and they don't turn up, and it won't be the last.
Would you agree with this comment as well from Pierre? If Cena lost last night, then his heel turn would have meant nothing.
Not really, because I mean, there is the desperation side of it, but I think, like I said, looking back at it logically now, Cena winning makes the most sense. And I know I've sort of fantasy booked the idea of that desperation kicks in, and like I think you suggested that the idea is that the fans are the ones that helped him win those 16 other titles, and he needs to get the fans back on his side. And as much as that probably is a more probably like that is more of a sort of a make-a-wish version of John Cena. Ultimately, Cena's leaving, and if he goes out as babyface, he has to lose to a heel, and him going out as heel to a babyface makes more sense.
Yeah, I think that the good thing of with Cena winning now as well is the fact that we get to prolong this heel character. If he'd lost him when he went back to squeaky clean John Cena by the start of May, for example, we'd think, oh, that was a waste of 2 or 3 months. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have all these matches with baby faces we can do with John Cena in the meantime as a heel. And I don't know, just there's lots of things we can do with John Cena at this moment that we haven't seen. It's fresh TV to go into for the last match or for the last couple of matches.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. At least we know now that we've got at least 8 months worth of heel John Cena. And like you said, if they'd have just done it by middle of May, he'd gone back to being babyface again, you're right, it would have been wasted time. So at least we know we sort of have a time frame of how long we've got a heel John Cena for now.
Seems to feel that way indeed. Well, let's dive in then that's John Cena and Cody Rhodes. So we have a lot more to dive into. Obviously, we mentioned Monday Night Raw. Just out of quick curiosity, are you excited for Randy Orton versus John Cena at Backlash?
Yes and no, just because it's going to be really good to see the dynamics flipped with Randy being babyface, Cena being heel. That's what I'm most looking forward to, because Randy at WrestleMania, 60,000 people singing his song. Dude, these guys love him being a babyface, and like I said, just seeing the dynamic of change is probably going to be the most interesting part about it.
Certainly indeed. And the thing is as well, like, they had to have one more match. They had to. With all the history they've done, they have to do it one more time. So it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, I'm sure, but I think in the right location of St. Louis as well is the perfect placement for it. They can do that, and then someone else can have the luxury of being John Cena's final opponent later in the year. So let's go to the start of the show then. I'm going to try and pull up comments as and when we go through, because obviously we have comments that are in all different areas of WrestleMania as well. So it's easier if you want your comment to come up on the time we're talking about it. That way we know we can bring it up as well. But if not, I will try and pull them up as best as I can throughout the pod. But yeah, I mean, we'll start off with Jey Uso then versus Gunther, which is actually the other match that I'm slightly negative about of WrestleMania. Every other match I've got positivity to say in a lot of it, but Jey Uso and Gunther is the other match that I don't. And the reasoning for it is mainly because of the story of the match, really. I really enjoyed Jey Uso's entrance, although I think we've seen better yeets, but it's a long way down from 60,000 people down to the ring. You ought to keep that stamina for the match itself, I'm sure. I just would have liked to have seen Gunther dominate Jey a bit more. He said he was going to, make his life hell and torture him more and stuff. And I just felt it was like, few moves for you, few moves for me. My finishing move, super kick. Oh, we'll go in and do the other finishing move, kick out, kick out. For me, I wanted to see more of a story of what they were building. I really liked the story going into WrestleMania in those last couple of weeks. I'd have liked to have seen this Gunther, terrorize Jey like he'd done Jimmy, almost left him bloody to a certain degree, but Jey overcomes it because he's not going to give up, maybe hit his best shot, and then see that it's still not enough on Gunther for that point. Then that, Jey has the doubts in the match. I never really thought a moment we saw of doubt for Jey Uso in the match, where then Gunther can then lock in that sleeper hold. That's the point that Jay's got to find his way out of it. Then he can do what I liked, which was the finish, which was the supercharger finishers. 1, 2, 3, hit the sleeper. Gunther did, though, tap out pretty quickly for my liking. I would have preferred he passed out or would have left it a bit longer. But still, all in all, it's the right result. I've said this from the start. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. He was on momentum. Merch seller, entrance, all felt special. Netflix, new fan base, Travis Scott in there at one point as well. And you just feel like, right, okay, we're capitalizing on it, because I feel with Raw after Mania, it still proves as well. Everyone wants the yeet off encore, the getting it. There's going to be a point during this year, people are going to turn on Jey Uso. I'm sorry to say it's going to happen. Some are already doing it, and some I know in our chat already have already done so already. However, it's going to be more people doing it. I don't see Jey Uso keeping this title for a year. You maximize the moment. They've capitalized it on the perfect place, the perfect time. They can do more merch, more sell. And when it's time for him to drop that title, when the popularity dips, they can say, job well done. Or the real challenge starts now. Is there a way they can maintain that popularity? And that is a challenge for the booking team.
Yep. I'm also going to add to this. You're going to love this answer. I know what the biggest problem with this match was, and it was Gunther.
Oh,
Gunther was the problem with this match. Gunther has been in WWE now for what? 4, 5, 6, 7 years, however long it is now, right? Every time we have seen Gunther lose, the opponent has been a worthy opponent. Someone who is good as, or just at, do you know what I mean? If someone on the same level as Gunther. So when we see Gunther lose, we see credible winners. The problem is Gunther is that good. Jey, in terms of in-ring style, is not on Gunther's level. So the believability factor that Jey can beat him, everyone just is like, no, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Yeah, sure, he has the entrance, he has the hype, he has the momentum. But like you said, when you get Jey tap him out in 10 seconds, stupid booking. Like for me, the smartest booking would have been have Gunther absolutely dominate him for 90% of this match. Jey finally gets in some offense, and do what Gunther's done to everyone else. Have him lock in a chokehold. Have Gunther spend a minute trying to break out of it. He gets back up on his feet. He rams Jey into the turnbuckle with him on his back. Jey will not let go. And then eventually just have Gunther pass out. Because you would have made Jey a more credible winner because of his heart and his determination to beat Gunther and become world champion. In this is what I feared, and this was a very underwhelming wrestling match. Super kicks and stuff like that. And like I said, the problem is Gunther. We've seen him lose to the likes of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Sami Zayn last year at WrestleMania. These are all people that are on a certain level of in-ring style, and Jey doesn't have that in-ring style, which is why people find him hard to believe he'll beat Gunther. So you needed to go another way. And that's why 2 weeks ago, they nailed it on the head with the story. It was, look, you've attacked my brother. I've got no reason left to be scared of you now. But the problem is Jey's in-ring ability doesn't back him up. So, unfortunately, Gunther is too good of an opponent for Jey to be credibly beaten, unfortunately. And I hate to say it because, do you know what I mean? I want to see Jey be world champion. But the problem is when you put him against someone like Gunther, who's been a UK champion for 1,000s or however many days it was. He was IC champion for 666 days. Jey, and we've just seen Jey lose 3 times previously to him for this World Heavyweight Championship. And you're telling me now WrestleMania, because he's on the grandest stage of the all, is the reason he's going to win that title. That's the reason why people didn't back it.
Absolutely, and it seems that Gunther can't win the big one going forward. It feels now like he couldn't win. He dropped the title last year. They almost just need to do a rinse and repeat of Sami Zayn's match the year previous, because obviously Gunther dominated that one, and he was like got a bit too big for his boots, and all of a sudden that's when the comeback got made in for Sami Zayn to go win the IC title. It just had to be literally a carbon copy. I know maybe some people say, "Oh, they did that last year," but that fit the storyline narrative perfectly for what they were trying to accomplish here, in my personal opinion.
There were some good spots, like, don't get me wrong, when Jey is laughing off Gunther's chops, I thought that's fantastic. Don't think I've ever seen anyone laugh off Gunther's chops before. And then at one point, he counters a powerbomb into a powerbomb. I thought, okay, we're getting something creative here. And then he did it, and he just hit super kicks. And I was like, my God, this is the automatic killer. This is what the problem we had with last year's Mania match. And although I feel this is better than last year's match, you know how if you've ever played WWE GM mode and it tells you that high flyers work really well with big guys and technicians work really well with everyone. This is just an uneven in-ring match. These guys don't work together in ring. That was the biggest problem ultimately with this.
Fair comment, fair compliment indeed. We've not really done star ratings for matches as of yet, so I suppose maybe that could be a good way to go in with it quickly. We'll start off as we're talking about Jey and Gunther. What would be the star rating you give for the match?
2.25. I thought this was better. This was slightly better than last year's, and the fact Jey wins is the reason I gave it better than his Jey versus Jimmy last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair rating. I think I would go on the lines of like 2.5. Yeah, it didn't do as much. Like I said, I would have booked the match dramatically different. And like I said, I feel like I'm quite negative so far. It's going to turn shortly. We're going to get very positive with a lot of the matches, but I just feel that this didn't kick off me in the way I wanted to. And do you know what I will say as well? I thought that having Mania kicking off WrestleMania would be the perfect start for WrestleMania in Vegas. How wrong I feel I was with that, because I just feel to myself, a match that long and a match that in depth as well to really start off the show that way. I actually think we needed something a bit more light-hearted to kick off the show, just to ease us into the table, feet on the sofa. Do you know what I mean? Get to like match 2, match 3, match 4, then we could have thrown in this match, and I think it might have just delivered a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, when it initially come on first, and I was like, okay, the potential for Gunther to win is still on here, because having Jey go for the title with the opener is kind of jumping. That there's always that possibility that, okay, well, Gunther retains because get the sad bit out of the way. All the rest of the show is really, really good. But I know what you mean. I didn't particularly feel the hype for it, but we've been saying for weeks, dude, going forward after WrestleMania, Jey has the potential to have some really good stories and really good narrative, and that's what I'm looking forward to now. Look, we've got past that. We've been, excuse my French, pissing and moaning about Jey winning the Rumble and winning this title. It's done with now. Let's move on and look forward to better things. I want to see Jimmy get a shot at it. I want to see Sami get a shot at it. I want to see Drew get a shot at it. There's all these potential here for these matches, and that's now what I'm looking forward to.
So, well, you speak about that. The Pierre mentioned about the idea of a Drew match there. Obviously, the celebration with Jimmy after the match was quite fun. Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw was a part of the celebration with Jey Uso, the eating for about 20 minutes. And there was a moment where they both went on turnbuckles, and Sami got down a bit quicker, just stood there. And there was a moment where we went, is he going to turn? It was a beautiful tease. Obviously, didn't do anything on the night, but sign of things to come?
Possibly. I mean, everyone, Sami is such a baby face that it's got to be done in the right way if you're going to turn him heel.
I think you need to have it in the championship match itself. I think Sami should win a number one contenders tournament or something, get himself the match. I can't believe I've got to face my brother, but we're going to do this. It's going to be a good clean fight. Then just basically do a Cena. That's when the low blow kicks in that match if you're going to do it. But yeah, we'll see if and how that will play about. But on the other side of things, which has been quite popular in our comments, and I'll try and pull one or two of them up. But Gunther losing himself with the commentary desk on Raw after Mania. Was putting a sleeper hold on Pat McAfee. Michael Cole as well, getting involved in the action as well, refusing to be bullied. I think it's Pierre that put in the comment of the crowd screaming the Michael Cole. Yeah, I mean, for me, I really enjoyed the segment. Do you think we're getting a Gunther versus Pat McAfee match?
I would like to look. First of all, Pat McAfee milked that because that went on for so long about him leaving the ring, and I was like, oh my god, well, we can move on now. We get it. He's been choked out, and Pat is taking like 15 minutes to leave the ringside, and I'm like, if I'm a paying audience member, I'm annoyed with this. I think this is probably building more towards Gunther versus Goldberg. I think that Pat McAfee knows he hasn't got it to face it, so he's going to bring in someone, and we're going to get Goldberg's final match. That's the one match I think everyone wants to see, and I'm just going to throw it out there.
Do you think then there'll be St. Louis Backlash, or do you reckon this is for another pay-per-view down the line?
SummerSlam.
Nice.
Goldberg ain't going out on a Backlash,
yeah. I don't know, mate. I would have thought a Saudi show, but there's not been one advertised for seemingly the next half a year, so we'll have to wait and see what will go on with that there, but time will tell. Booking like a market house, good to see you guys. Says WrestleMania was predictable in terms of winners, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's always about how the story ends rather than the storytelling itself. 100% agree with that comment. Thought that was worth bringing up at this point. Yeah, let's see how things progress with the storylines though. We're going to see that there's some direction for Gunther coming out of WrestleMania. It's not going to stay with Jey Uso versus Gunther. One question Jonesy threw in, which I can't find off the top of my head now, a feud that needed to be separated and not continue. That's one I would say that needed to go different directions. So I'm glad to see they are going different directions. But moving on to the next match on the show was the War Raiders. Always want to say Viking Raiders these days, but War Raiders, they were dressed as Vikings, just from a computer game, going against the New Day. Yeah. What was your thoughts of this match? Obviously, the New Day getting the victory. They did the old pull the foot under the bottom rope trick.
This did what it needed to do to, I would say, elevate New Day's heels. Like, don't get me wrong, their ring gear, fantastic. The fact that they've got a 3-headed unicorn and one of them's like decayed and withered away because they got rid of Big E, I thought was pure fantastic. And then they've got the War Raiders coming out as Clash of Clans characters. This is what I meant earlier about the difference in entrance attire. Like, New Day get all the bells and whistles, Viking Raiders get cheap Clash of Clan lookalike wrestling attire. I'm like, what is this crap? The match itself is nothing special. I think, like on SmackDown this week for the other tag team championship, I'm kind of like, this is a bit meh. And I was like, sure, it does what it needs to do to get the titles on the New Day. I imagine that they will have better creative going forward, but at the minute, it looks like we're just going to get a rematch against the War Raiders, and then apparently Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are going to be number one contenders. So how that dynamic works, I never know. But otherwise, pretty standard War Raiders match. If anything, it was okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's Ivar nearly breaks his neck doing a moonsault, landing on Kofi's knee or whoever's Kofi's knee. He does a moonsault and just almost looks like he lands on the top of his head, which was a bit scary, but very standard TV match. And I was expecting something more. Surprisingly, this was the match put on the WrestleMania card and not the TLC match.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have said, like, if we could swap those two matches around, I think a lot of people would have been happy. I think they want the TLC match on this show, but obviously Stand and Deliver got the ladder match, so I think that they didn't want to put one on WrestleMania as well, but I don't see the problem with it personally. I would have been quite fine with it, especially as one singles wrestlers, multi-person match, and the other one is tag teams. I think it would have been fine, but I was happy that the War Raiders got themselves a WrestleMania tag team match. They've never been on the show before, so I'm happy in that way. I just think this match could have done with a stipulation just to keep the fans a bit more interested, but right result. New Day, the champions moving forward, and interesting to see how it's going to be moving forward for them. War Raiders probably either move to SmackDown or fade into the background, unfortunately for them.
find out when draft time comes around. I gave this a 2.5 stars, by the way. I thought this was better than the opening match, and it did what it needed to do to elevate New Day as a heel tag team, especially the way they won by the cheating.
I would agree with 2.5 star as well. And what do you reckon of Cody and Cena? We didn't give that earlier.
Cody and Cena, dude, it's like, it's really hard because it's nothing special in ring, and it was more about story. So I gave it like a 2.5. Like I couldn't really justify the in-ring quality when it was more about the story. So yeah, 2.5, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to go with a 3-star rating just because, like, you know, I thought it was fine. I thought it was better than average, but it still wasn't what I was hoping for as that WrestleMania main event, if that kind of makes sense there. And yeah, Mike there says that he thinks NXT Stand Level was the best card all weekend, was his favorite show of the lot.
Good shout.
Certainly a good show indeed. If we have time tonight, we will look to try and talk about Stand and Deliver, but it's all if we have time.
Let's power through the rest of the show.
Power through it, shall we? Certainly for night one anyway. And funnily enough, Pierre mentions about Naomi should win Money in the Bank this year. She's been killing it since her heel turn. Well, Jade and Naomi is the match we're going to talk about next. And Naomi would be a good shout for Money in the Bank, by the way. Jade versus Naomi. I thought this match was solid enough. I actually really liked Jade catching Naomi in the suplex. I thought it was a really impressive feat of strength. I thought that Naomi worked very well as the veteran here. Certainly, you could say using the dance partner along to make a really good match here. And obviously, Jade winning with Jaded. I think this did everything it needed to do. Of course, in my heart, I wanted Naomi to win because I really enjoyed the heel turn as well. But look, Jade is the one that need to book here for a stronger push moving into the summer. I still think Bianca eventually will be a champion on whether it's the SmackDown, the Raw side, whichever side it's going to be. And I think Jade will go for a title against Bianca at SummerSlam. That's going to be a nice little early prediction from me.
Yeah. Again, back to the entrances. The weather report, green screen crap for Jade. It's her first WrestleMania solo entrance, and we're giving her green screen generic, looks like it's been paid for off of Fiverr.com. Like, do you know what I mean? Looks like some crap. And I'm like, again, very split on the budget apparently for what went into entrances. But Naomi looked fantastic. The entrance looked good. The music, I don't know if it's new, but I kind of liked it. But it did sound very Death Rebel. In terms of the match in ring, wasn't nothing particularly special. Was kind of sloppy in some places. Like, don't get me wrong, Naomi hits a nice like draping headlock drop off the apron to the outside, which I thought was good. Like you said, the dives into the jackhammer, and then they do the same for a fall away slam, and then the electric chair into the power bomb. I thought was fantastic by Jade.
Yeah.
But then the ref, like, she pins her, but then the ref doesn't count. So then she gets her up and does the Jaded and pins her. And I'm like, there's some miscommunication going on with the end of this, yeah. But again, same was the right result. Jade needed this win. It does no harm to Naomi. Can go on to do bigger and better things this year.
Absolutely, indeed. Star rating?
2.5. Very, like I said, very sloppy in places, and there was a bit of confusion towards the end of the match.
Go with 2.5 as well. I'm going to share that rating with you. LA Knight dropping the United States Championship to Jacob Fatu. Got to say, love the everything about the presentation about Jacob Fatu was just special. Solo did come out through the curtain with him, but didn't come to ringside, so it felt like this was going to be one-on-one. The moonsault into the BFT.
Fantastic.
Just kiss, I think, for that. That was fantastic in itself, but not enough to keep Jacob Fatu down. Jacob eventually picking up the victory and winning the United States Championship. Again, felt like the right result for me on this one. I know it was only LA Knight's second title defense since winning the title back from Shinsuke Nakamura, but transitional champion to get it over to Jacob Fatu. WWE liking to give the mid-card titles to future monsters here. Bron Breakker, of course, was the Intercontinental Champion going into WrestleMania, has new direction now, is not champion coming out of WrestleMania. We'll be talking about that in detail later. But Jacob Fatu just seems to be that guy right now. It's like, let's get the United States Championship on him and let's see what this guy can do before pushing him further up the card.
I had no problems with LA Knight dropping this title since he was a two-time champion. He'd lost it to Shinsuke, won it back again, and it was like, could easily take the loss, was never a problem for it. This match I thought was great. The pacing is fantastic. It starts off really solid as a great match, gets to the high intensity spots, like you said, the moonsault into the BFT, the double top rope moonsaults for the win. Just honestly, a really great, solid, middle of the card match. I really love this. And like I said, right champion with Fatu winning. can't wait to see what he does for the rest of the year with that United States Championship.
Certainly, yeah, can't wait either. I think it's going to be an exciting prospect. Some challenges potentially we could see for Jacob Fatu. Any mouth-watering clashes that come to mind?
Oh, dude, give me El Grande Americano versus Jacob Fatu. I want to see that match because, you know, El Grande Americano, new baby face, solid in-ring wrestler. Give me those two together. I think they'll do magic.
Give me Aleister Black versus Jacob Fatu. That's the match I want.
If he's on SmackDown, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. PSA doesn't think that LA Knight got buried by Fatu. Thinks LA Knight should be transferred to Raw to go for the World Heavyweight title. Interesting. Could be a good direction. What's next for LA Knight?
The problem is the main event scene is so stacked that I wouldn't be against him just going on the other brand and going for the IC title and helping to elevate the likes of Dominic Mysterio now. I think he'd be a really good opponent for Dominic Mysterio. I think that actually could be a lot of money and a lot of like in-ring chemistry in terms of mic work. I think would be great because although everyone loves Dominic, they'll still boo the hell out of him for his mic, his promos, and then you put him against LA Knight. That could be really special.
Yeah, you're selling me on that already. I like the idea of that. I actually want to see LA Knight versus John Cena for the title at some point before LA Knight jumps over.
That would be a good shout as well.
They've been tag team partners, so why not see it happen? That could be quite fun. Scott, Retro Wrestling House to be doing well. Scott, thank you for joining us. If everyone's enjoying the video so far, we'll just say apologies. Not every comment is coming up. As you can understand, it's a lot to get through tonight, but we were doing our best to get every comment up that we can. If you enjoyed the video so far, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well, and I'll pass back over to the main man, Erik Steve.
I was just going to say match ratings for Fatu versus LA Knight. I gave it 3.25.
Fair rating. I gave it a 3. Yeah, I really enjoyed the match. So yeah, I think that's a fair enough rating for it.
Yeah, solid.
After this, you mentioned El Grande Americano. Got to be one of my favorite entrances of the whole bloody thing.
Fantastic.
Amazing video package. Look, if you're not a fan of El Grande Americano, this is the time to switch off because we're probably going to give a bit of a love fest for the next couple of minutes here. What an entrance.
The is it sepia? It's pronounced the sepia filter, the mariachi band. Oh, this guy been blackballed from wrestling for so long. He finally gets his WrestleMania moment, his WrestleMania entrance, and he looked like an absolute star. And that bum chicken Rey Mysterio. Oh, I've got an injury. I can't wrestle. So you unfortunately make Rey Fenix do it. The other thing as well, by the way, that AAA announcement. All these luchadors and Noel Grande Americano, the disrespect this guy is being shown by Michael Cole is unreal. Like you had Phoenix, Andrade, you had Los Garza. Those guys haven't picked up a win in months. And yet El Grande Americano, the greatest luchador wrestler on the planet today at this very moment, and he's not celebrated. Outrageous.
He's going to get his revenge, I predict, by the end of the year. El Grande Americano, AAA World Champion. I think it's going to happen. I think
Worlds collide, definitely.
Just please don't book Alberto El Patron on that card, please. He is currently a mega champion in AAA, which that's.
There is one other thing we forgot about the entrance: the dubbing, like the audio, like the translation, like the guy that they got to voice over El Grande Americano was superb. Get that guy back for every video package where he gets interviewed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you had a cape.
I thought it was great. It's a shame Rey Mysterio was not available for the match. I'm just gonna. I know we deadbeat dad and all that, but he can have his WrestleMania moment next year, hopefully. But at the same time, Rey Fenix, like I say, got the spot. I was really pleased to see Phoenix thrown in because they built something on SmackDown. But I'm gonna say I think Dragon Lee would have been better, and here's my reasoning why. Just hear me out. Rey Fenix had like 2-3 matches in SmackDown, and that's it. Penta's losing matches, but he's been there since the start of the year. It's like near the end of April. It's fine for him to lose matches now. Phoenix has just got there. I feel like it's a bit soon to be losing. I know that's wrong to say, but Dragon Lee's already had the match as well, had the mask ripped off. He got pulled from WrestleMania match last year as well from the last minute due to Rey Mysterio. At least Rey could have given the sort of like, well, can you take my spot? But instead... He's a bad group leader as well. Give the spot to someone else.
He is 100%. You actually, the correct answer was El Generico because he was in Vegas. Like Look, he was in Vegas. I know this. I've seen reports. El Generico was in Las Vegas. He should have been the replacement to face El Grande Americano. But yeah, I mean, look, even the fact that Dragon Lee is in the same faction as him is criminal. Like Dragon Lee, since he was rushed through NXT, called up, and they've kind of just done nothing with him since, apart from being this faction. Like, hopefully now this acquisition of AAA. I don't know. They make it sound all so weird. I don't know if they've partnered or whether they've bought the company, but I'm really excited for just Lucha Wrestling, man, and getting like some of that. Like, if you've never seen a AAA pay-per-view, Triple Mania before, these guys do not care about copyright infringement, and they did like Lucha Spider-Man versus Lucha Venom versus Lucha Wolverine versus Lucha Hulk. They do not care, and they're so much fun to watch. And it probably won't be as good as the stuff they used to put on the TV, but Worlds Collide, I'm telling you now, is going to be a phenomenal show.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant. I do enjoy Triple Mania. I've got to say, WrestleMania already 2 nights. Give one night to Triple R. You've got Triple Mania set then in the WWE calendar. It's a joke, by the way.
3-night WrestleMania, so.
Yeah, 3-night WrestleMania. There's not enough weekend days for it. Do not do it. We've already got Stand and Deliver as well. It's too much. It's far too much. There's a reason why we're reviewing this on
Sunday morning, you said.
Exactly. It's in Vegas. You don't need to go to bed. But yeah, at the same time, I think this is just a start for WWE. From my feeling is, I think it's a full-on acquisition. I think they have it. I think it's gonna.
That's what I have.
I hope they don't make it. Well, they'll make it a variation of NXT Mexico. That's what I feel of like their world domination. I just hope they don't change the name personally. But they've got the connections with Noah. I'm predicting now Noah's next on the market that they're going to get hold of. That'll be their NXT Japan, and I do think they're going to buy TNA.
The only thing they have to worry about with Noah is that I'm sure that Japanese companies being owned by non-Japanese is a big no-no, because I'm sure there was rumors about New Japan being bought out, and it just wouldn't happen because like just Japan in general don't like their businesses, their Japan-owned businesses being owned by anyone other than Japanese people. So that's the only thing I'm kind of hesitant on with Noah. And yeah, TNA, dude. TNA is being bought for that back library anyway, and they're going to be the developmental for NXT. So yeah, 100%.
Absolutely,
we're going to do WWE. Are going to have wrestling on every day of the week.
Yeah, pretty much, and the likes as well, like Vikingo as well, just sitting in the crowd and obviously then checking on Phoenix after they loses as well. It just shows that the amount of talent out there that WWE are acquiring as well with these promotions.
TNA banging out El Vikingo matches against people Mike Bailey on their YouTube channel. Go and check that as well. Like if you want to know what that guy's about, because he's fantastic. Anyway, back to this match. Let's talk about that 450 somersault senton, because that was phenomenal.
That was awesome. That was
incredible.
It was a moment that I was just like, if that's Chad Gable, if it's that boy can lucha.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I find it hard to believe it's Chad Gable. This El Grande is just doing things that I've never seen done before. And yeah, that senton, phenomenal wrestling, man. Like honestly, a lot of people were shocked and thought it was a botch. And the fact that you've got Wade Barrett and Pat McAfee counting the rotations as he does it, because they don't even know what it is. Oh, it's so good.
That is, yeah. It felt like a bit of maths for the insane, really, didn't it? Trying to work out those angles. It's not quite Pythagoras theorem, but anyway. What was your thoughts of El Grande Americano needing to have a metal plate to protect his head? I mean, that's what he seems to...
Again, until proven it's a metal plate, I do not believe it is a metal plate. I believe it's simply a protective device for when he does the top rope diving headbutt. Then it protects his head because, concussions are a thing, and he's doing all he can to protect himself.
And his opponent.
Yes.
He got the victory anyway, and El Grande Americano picking up... This was probably my favorite match on WrestleMania up to this point. I give it a 3.5-star rating.
I do exactly the same. I wanted actually more. I wanted more. That was the problem with it, is I wanted more of it. I wanted more time.
I wanted more time as well. I think if these two were allowed to have another 10 minutes added to the match, I think we could have gone to the 5s, but it's just what it is, unfortunately. But just to quickly mention about Monday Night Raw, the other video package of the celebration of him going back to Mexico, and
fantastic. I wish I was there. I honestly, if I had a passport and a plane ticket, I would have been there, and you would have seen me in those photos.
Look out for that in any time in the next few weeks of a Grande Americano's NXT in the corner. It'd be like, where's Waldo?
Definitely.
Scott Retro Wrestling says, which British promotion would WWE look into? Because I think there's something as well. I think they would look into like a European
bought 3 of
promotion.
them.
Yeah,
oh no, if they're looking for another one, but I know they bought 3 years ago before COVID because they were feeder systems for NXT UK.
Yeah, so what ones were they again? Was it ICW one of them?
Something like that. The only one that obviously the biggest one is Rev Pro in the UK, so I very much doubt that they'll get Rev Pro.
No, I mean that's the one that's kind of linked with AEW quite a lot as well, so it would be kind of hard to get into that as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, loving the fact that Wade and Pat were a part of the El Grande Americana story.
100% is great.
Superb indeed. That moves us on then to hang on, wait a minute. One more comment. Man, to be serious, if Chad Gable doesn't get a push after this El Grande American story, I just don't understand. I wouldn't either, but I think the push is coming. I do feel that El Grande Americano, like I said, I think he'll be a Triple R champion before the end of the year. I think that this is a given. It's here to stay for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he's pretty much already a part of American Made as a stable. You know, he's got the American Made mask. He's kind of like an unofficial member. He's almost like a fanboy of this faction. So, look, man, big things for him this year. Both Chad Gable and El Grande Americano.
Absolutely. Now, just because of the fact it's not El Grande, it's not Chad Gable. We know it's not Chad Gable. Should Chad Gable have answered Randy Orton's open challenge on night 2, or am I just, I'm being silly here?
Dude, I did a TikTok of 12 other names, and Chad Gable was one of the names I didn't even think of. To be fair, there was about 3 or 4 other names I didn't think of when I did it. So, I mean, I wouldn't have minded, but ultimately, whoever Randy was going to face was going to lose, and I don't want to see Chad Gable lose it.
No, absolutely not. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. That was the following match of this. Oh, was the groan there from NXT? Not a fan of this match?
Dude, back to the entrances quickly. Tiffany looking like a Barbie doll in a Barbie house is a bit on the nose, and it's kind of a bit of stereotype that I think that unfortunately will get very old very quickly when it comes to Tiffany Stratton. I thought Charlotte Flair looked rattled from the minute go. I think she was rattled before the bell even rung. I felt this match lacked aggression, which was the whole point. I think that there was one point in the match where I think Charlotte slaps Tiffany. Tiffany instantly snaps and just throws some forearms. And I was like, okay, some aggression. And then it stopped. And then anytime Tiffany tried to build any kind of momentum, Charlotte kicked her with a big boot and killed that momentum. And that happened about 4 or 5 times. So not only have we got Charlotte rattled, no aggression, Tiffany getting no momentum, there was a minimal amount of work done to Charlotte's knee so that she couldn't lock in the figure 8, which was, I thought, pathetic. And I was like, I'm supposed to believe that Charlotte can't get the figure 8 in. And again, we've seen enough times that Charlotte Flair can do better jobs and take more of a beat down on a limb to sell that she's can't put in a figure 8. And I just thought it was weak. The natural selection she does off the top is poorly hit. The prettiest moonsault we encountered was probably one of the best, moments in terms of story. But they just genuinely looked like Charlotte looked like she never wrestled. She just honestly looked rattled for me. And the whole story has been about aggression, and you've been cussing at each other, and you've been saying stuff behind each other's back for the last 3 months, 4 months, whatever. And you get in the ring and there's no chemistry. How does that work? How do you have a 15 times women's world champion and this brand new, 4 years in the business wrestler who's like one of the best up-and-comers, and you've got no chemistry?
I actually didn't mind the match. I thought it was okay.
Oh, my God.
I particularly...
You must have watched 2 different matches.
I will say I agree with you with the fact that the start of the match just started with they tried to get everyone thinking that this was going to be like a fight from the start, like you said, with that aggression at the very beginning, but then it sort of dwindled away very quickly. I would totally agree with that. But I thought as the match went on, I felt like that they tried to replicate Charlotte versus Rhea from WrestleMania 39. Now, I don't think they succeeded in doing so going the whole way, But what I would say is that I felt the second half of this match was a lot stronger than the first half of this match. And I felt that when it got to the nitty-gritty parts of is someone going to pick up the pinfall or not, I felt like I was buying into a lot of near falls. I found myself really getting invested into the match. I found myself when Charlotte was trying to get the figure eight on, is this the finish? Is it not? Then obviously it was the moment where she got knocked off the buckle, and that's when her knee sort of was meant to have jarred. And where she was seemingly rattled, Charlotte, because I would agree with you with the rattled feeling, I kind of feel like it played into the finish as well. I felt like it was almost meant to be by design a bit, because she kind of hastily threw herself into the corner, and that completely threw her for the rest of the match. I will say that I don't think that this was the best match on the show, but I do feel that this match was actually the turning point of this show, where I actually felt like that this was getting a stronger Mania card, because I would have argued that the 5 matches previous, and even though I love El Grande Americano, so I'm not going blasphemy on that, and I don't want to upset you, Erik, Steve, but like this stuff that we'd seen previously on this card could have been on the Monday Night Raw. This match here for me felt like the first match where I was like, this feels like WrestleMania I'm watching here.
Like I said, dude, you and me must watch 2 different matches, because I'm watching them do reversals and counters, and they're not in the right spots. There's a moment where like Charlotte tries to do a reversal in the corner, and Tiffany's not close enough to the corner, and like she almost has to reset herself before doing the counter. And I'm like, honestly, I just felt like I'm watching 2 toddlers trying to wrestle. Like, it just looked like they Bambi on ice. Like, they've got no. Like, I just honestly felt they had no chemistry. Like I said, there was one small bit of aggression in the middle, and like obviously Tiffany hitting a moonsault is great. But just like honestly, I thought this personally was the worst match on the WrestleMania card. I felt nothing for this. I just honestly, I had high hopes that they were going to put on a killer match, even though like I'd hated the build, I'd hated Charlotte winning the Rumble. I knew what Charlotte can do in ring. I know what Tiffany can do in ring. So it's not even a case of like I'm pissing all over it, because like the build was rubbish. Low key thought this could have been a really good wrestling match, and I just felt it lacked everything. It, like I said, most importantly, the aggression. I just felt there wasn't any.
It's fair. It's fair. We I don't say agree to disagree on this one, but I do feel that obviously I agree on the aggression side of things, but I felt there was more urgency and desperation. I think it replaced it, because I think that Charlotte knew as the match was going along that she couldn't get the job done. I think that's the story I feel like we're trying to play out in ring.
I'm probably going to have to watch it back again, but like, I don't know, man. Because it's one of them matches where like everyone's going to be overly critical about this match because of the build has been horrific. And I'm like, look, this, like I said, this is potential to be really good. And I'm just watching it, and I'm like, my notes are like, no aggression, one small spot of aggression after a slap. There's a great power bomb. As soon as Tiffany tries to build any momentum, like honestly, if you go back and watch it, look at any time Tiffany tries to build momentum, Charlotte's one answer is a big boot, and it's like, okay, but you do it 5 times. I don't mind if you do other kinds of things to counteract someone trying to build momentum, but when you do the same move 5 times, to me, it's lacking creativity.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's get a star rating for it.
2-star, brother.
2-star. Scott gave it a 3-star rating. I'm going to go with a 3.25.
It's fair. I'm not going to criticize anyone else's rating. I just honestly, I thought this was going to be really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think it was really good. I think that's where
I probably set my. That's what it is. I probably set my hopes too high in terms of match quality because they're so good.
That's fair. That's fair. Bobby's give it a 3.5. I think he enjoyed the match as well. Scott says, I don't feel Charlotte's had any character development. She's been the same for nearly 10 years. Would argue that's probably quite accurate.
Ding, ding, ding. Give that man a prize.
Absolutely. Good to see Scott. It's been a while, Scott. I hope you're doing well, Scott, by the way. Scott Retro Wrestling, all the retro content.
Keep up the content as well, man.
Absolutely. We enjoy watching it. So yeah, we get to the night 1 main event, and that is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, the triple threat match, which I wrote to you, Erik Steve, during this match, and I hadn't had the result at that point. And I said to you, I think this might be one of the best triple threat matches in WrestleMania history, and possibly one of the best matches in WrestleMania history. I was really enjoying it. The interaction between the three, everything felt so important with the interactions of moves, and from finisher to counter to someone else getting involved with another finisher with a curb stomp on something. Yeah, I just love the way that these guys connected together before we got the big angle at the end.
Do you know the best part is the entrance? Seth's entrance sets up the whole thing. It's such a small detail because he comes out in that fireproof jacket, I presume, because he's waving around a flamethrower. And obviously, I think it's meant to be the Bellagio Hotel that's the set piece for their entrance to WrestleMania. And he's waving around a flamethrower and it's all burning down. Oh my God, that's such a low-key detail to what happens in over the next 48 hours. Seth Rollins completely burns the building down. And dude, entrances alone, look, Seth's got a fantastic one. Roman's is kind of just very, very Monday Night Raw entrance. CM Punk's, my God, this is one of the best video packages I've seen. I text you and said, if we ever do a Mount Rushmore video packages, that's in there, because they use this Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage, which is the best wrestling tune ever. Forget Cult of Personalities, Living Color. That is the best one. And just everything about it, and the way they made it about this is my WrestleMania main event. It was beautiful, man. And and he comes out in the yellow and black gear, and I'm like, this is perfect. This, for me, has CM Punk winning all the way. And then obviously, like I said, Seth Rollins with his subtle hint of burning the place down kind of ruins it all for you. But dude, this match is fantastic. I do have one criticism of it, though.
Tell me.
Foreshadowing. 99% of people knew Heyman was going to side with Seth Rollins. That's my problem. If they hadn't have foreshadowed it by having Seth beat up Roman and Punk and say Heyman now owes him a favor, if they'd have just left it a complete mystery, and not even had those two interact in whatever way, that's my one criticism, is that it was so obvious that was going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember we put out the video suggesting it about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and then I think we sort of said it as an idea of what if, rather than it's going to happen kind of thing. But as the weeks rolled on, you could see more and more that definitely was the direction. Like you say, when it said there, was it almost feels too obvious, and it has to be something else, which is why we went a step further. I mean, I definitely did on the predictions video. I was like, Paul Heyman's going to help, but it's going to be by accident, and we're not going to learn till Raw that it's for genuine reasons. But what I will say is, for what Booking Like a Mark said earlier in the video, it's not always about the predictability. It's the way the storytelling is done. It's the execution, the delivery, and this was delivered so well. The fact as well, the steel chair being there in between Punk and Roman, and he having to make a choice, giving the chair to Punk. And then obviously it looked like Roman's there sitting with the facials as well. And just as Punk's going to use that chair, Heyman does the low blow. He's like, what did you expect me to do? You put me in a corner. This is your fault. It's your fault. That's my tribal chief. You just see him acknowledging Roman Reigns as he gives him the chair. Roman's got the big pearly white. So that's my wise man. I knew he wasn't going to let me down. This was a ruse all along, says commentary. And then just as then we see Seth Rollins pointing at Seth. He's pointing at Seth, and Seth's leaning on the ropes, just how it was done when Seth turned on the Shield on Roman all those years ago. And we've seen it play out on the build to Mania as well. And it just felt so poetic. And then Roman says to Heyman, back you go. Back you go. And you knew the second then Heyman went behind him, was like, here we go.
You can see Heyman looking at it.
And he just went down and right into the Johnson once again. It's not a good weekend for people being low blowed, is it? But I mean, just done so well. When obviously from this point, that's when Seth took advantage, and Seth getting the pin on Roman as well. Seth winning a WrestleMania main event. It's felt big time. It just, for me, this was everything I wanted and more. Despite the fact, you can say there was a predictable element of it, but it played out what I envisioned in my head perfectly on my screen. So I was
better than anything I could have ever predicted in my head. Dude, just to notice some of the spots that I've got here. you've got like a doomsday device by Punk and Reigns, which I thought was great. Michael Cole calling out the fact that even he knows the Spanish announcement table was there for a spot, I thought was funny as anything. Splash by Rollins onto Punk as he applies an Anaconda Vice to Reigns. Spear on Punk as he tries to hit a GTS. Rollins counters a spear into a pedigree and a stomp for a 2. And then and obviously because he has to kick Punk out the ring as well, is just the reason why that it only gets for a 2. And then Roman spears Rollins, Punk GTS, Roman 2 count. Rollins pedigrees Punk for a 2. Rollins says the name Mox in the ring, and we see it and you can hear it audibly, and then obviously Seth tries to get Roman to team up to go back to the Shield way, and they try to do the Shield power bomb, and then he knocks him out. He puts Punk through one. He puts Rollins through the other. Dude, it's so good, man. And there's so many little just tidbits of details that play off in wrestling history. It's so well orchestrated and well done, man. Regardless of the obvious spoiler that Heyman is teaming with Seth, this is still so fantastic, and I love this.
I freaking loved it. There's a comment somewhere. It says this has got to be like a 5-star match. I'm giving it 5 stars as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this from start to finish.
I am going to give it 4 3/4. I think this is fantastic. I think this is better than I could have ever hoped it to have been, but I'm still going to knock it for the obvious.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And obviously, this has continued on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, we've tried to learn how long has this been in the pipeline with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. Has it been a couple of weeks? Has it been going longer? If you want my personal opinion, I think it's been going since before War Games, because everyone wanted Seth Rollins on the team, and Rollins didn't join the team, and Heyman got Punk to join the team. So that's the moment I think we've all learned there, because before that, when Heyman wanted CM Punk to take him away, Punk didn't do it, and that's when Heyman went through the table in July. So it's somewhere between July and War Games this plan has been in place from, and it's great to see how it's played out here. And obviously on Raw, it looked like the Punk was going to try and get revenge on both Rollins and Heyman. And of course, Roman come out as well, as it didn't materialize. And of course, the save was made as Bron Breakker joined this alliance as well. Is it a Dangerous Alliance 2.0? Is 1992 back upon us in WCW? I personally hope it is. It's a fantastic group. That Stunning Steve Austin part of it back in the day. Yeah, I mean, I'm loving the idea of this new group we have here with Seth, with Bron Breakker, with Paul Heyman by their side as the wise man, a new Paul Heyman guy to build up a Bron Breakker to establish Seth Rollins as the one going into WrestleMania 42. I heard that and I thought NXT is going to love this, because that's suggesting main event next year, night 2, WrestleMania. Is Punk going to be at the opposite end? It's the perfect retaliation, because Seth won it here, destroying Punk's main event to get the main event again next year for Punk to win it back would just be perfect, full circle moment. And of course, in the
for
meantime,
Heyman to turn on Rollins next year as well.
Oh, could you imagine? It would be amazing. But in the meantime, we have to look as far as Backlash. And I tell you what, I feel Teddy Long's coming over me, because I feel a tag team match is coming, players. I tell you, I feel we've got Bron Breakker and Seth against Roman and Punk. How will Roman and Punk coexist? But they'll have to, because the guy that was in their corner stabbed them both in the back. And this other team is going to be like a well-oiled machine. I hope that happens at Backlash. And if it does, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, I mean, even I was thinking as well, is like you've still got other people to factor into it that aren't even involved. Like, for instance, Bronson Reed has unfinished story with Seth Rollins. So I imagine if some point within the next year, Seth's going to pick up a title, Bronson Reed is going to get a title shot, and we're going to get the continuation of that story and how that plays out. And yeah, I mean, obviously the tag team is the most obvious booking for Backlash. And obviously the will they get along story is probably going to ultimately be their downfall. But even just Bron being involved as a Paul Heyman guy do you know what I mean? If you turn around and said, give me a guy off the main roster could be a Paul Heyman guy, Bron Breakker is the most obvious one, and it's fantastic. I cannot wait to see it. Like, his stardom and his rise to the main event scene is going to be elevated so much in the next 12 months.
Absolutely. And the fact is, as well, he's had a hell of a 12 months already on Raw. Sending Ricochet to AEW, writing him off TV, winning the IC title on a couple of occasions, spearing people when it looked like they've, Carlito gave himself a funeral. That's how much he was speared. Do you know what I mean? It was done again on Mania Night too. I just
He absolutely destroyed Usher Speed.
Absolutely best Royal Rumble moment this year. And it's just like, he's going to do so well as a Paul Heyman guy. And the thing is as well, when you look at it with Paul Heyman, like this history with those two as well. Obviously go back to NXT. I think it's like a year and a half ago. It was Breakker versus Carmelo Hayes. I think Mello had John Cena in his corner. Bron had Paul Heyman in his corner. So there is history there.
Think of that. Oh my God, that's so good.
And so they're playing this off of the long-term stuff. And I love this comment here from Pierce, like, it kind of has a resemblance of like Brock Lesnar back to 2002 to 2004. Breakker could be just like that moving forward and shoot up to superstardom. You wouldn't bet against it. Ticking all the boxes.
Well, he can cut a Steiner Math promo as well. I don't know if you saw the kickoff show, but he does a Steiner Math promo. It's fantastic. It's so good.
It's amazing. Now, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I'm going to ask the question now. I want to thank James, my best mate. It was the best man at my wedding. And we talked about WrestleMania earlier on today. And he said to me, wouldn't it be great if Becky Lynch joined this group?
Did you see Becky's reaction to when Seth turned heel? There's a video of it from backstage from Gorilla.
Really?
She's absolutely loving it. She is laughing her head off. Look, after Raw, I would not be against it. Imagine Paul Heyman having Becky Lynch, Bron Breakker, and Seth Rollins as this. We was worried about Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre being a power faction. Look at the three that we could have. It'd be fantastic.
San Diego's not going to know what hit them for War Games later this year. I cannot wait. It's going to be so good. Give us Team Rollins versus Team Reigns. That's what I want to see. Paul, thank you. Very kind. Chat rate indeed. Keep the comments coming in. I'm trying to get as many up as possible. We apologize. We're not as good at bringing up comments tonight because it's so much to get through. We're in an hour and 15 minutes.
Move on to night two.
We're going to move on to night two now, and we're going to kick things off with the triple threat match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. 15 minutes of pure bliss. I said I thought I'd seen the best WrestleMania triple threat match of all time. Then night two happened, and do you know what? Because of how my life works with working and stuff like that, I finished night one and started night two simultaneously. I got two great triple threat matches back to back. Freaking amazing. Now, you mentioned about this fanfare, Bianca Belair undefeated at WrestleMania. Do you notice on the graphic on the screen during her entrance when everyone was doing everyone with the braids and stuff, it said career WrestleMania 4-0, and then Michael Cole announced on commentary, she's 4-1. She lost the Battle Royal, literally trying to kill all the momentum with that immediately.
I didn't notice that. That's very, that's what Battle Royal was she in that she lost? Was it that silly one with all the NXT crew, like when they had like the 7 or 8 NXT women in the middle of the ring going NXT that one year, and they all got whooped and thrown out about 2 minutes later? Yeah, I can't really count that.
It was a kickoff match, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the
Women's
Battle Royal.
And kickoff matches don't count. We know that. That's rubbish. Shut up, Michael Cole.
Well, it didn't matter anyway. We spoke about great chemistry. I'm sure you got a hell of a lot of notes with these three women, with Rhea involved as well.
No, because I was too in awe watching how good this match was. This match, I literally said to you that 2 years ago, like Rhea versus Charlotte was my match of the year. This could easily be my match of the year. This is so good, and just the chemistry is like fluid. Like there was like it went to 100 and just never slowed down. It just constantly was go, and the spots they were hitting, like even like the moonsault at the end that Io hits on Belair as she's pinning Rhea. I'm just like, oh my God, like it's such a dangerous spot because of especially how Rhea's folded up. But to hit it and get the pinfall and win, I mean, what have I got? Triple suplex with a stall by Bianca was great. Rhea hits a razor's edge using Io onto Belair. Belair does a back body drop. Belair back body drops Rhea, who back body drops Io into the corner. Rhea riptides Belair for a 2. Rhea counters a top rope riptide. Io hits a moonsault, which is countered, and then Belair hits a KOD on Io, which Rhea breaks up, and then Rhea reverses a poison rana off the second rope. Just they're the minimal notes I had. Like I couldn't keep up with it because it was just like as soon as I wrote, I'm trying to type one-handed and look at the TV like that at the same time. It's just impossible, man. This match is just phenomenal, man.
This is why I've stopped making notes on some of the current PLEs. If you do the retro ones, they take about twice the level of time to watch because you have to keep pausing every 2 seconds. But I mean, goodness, the spot for me, I think, was like Io, I think, doing the moonsault, and then she was like kicked into the air, like where Rhea got her feet up, and then she went sort of flying into the KOD. It was just like, and then I think Io as well being avalanched into the buckle, the corner bit, like literally face first on the hard bit. I was like, Jesus, that looked like that hurt. Then Bianca hitting the KOD on Rhea, and then just as she's going to go for the pinfall, Io goes and hits a moonsault and picks up the victory. Look, I'm going to be honest with everybody. I went for Bianca Belair to win this match, and I thought that was going to be the case, but I saw a lot of people were going for Io Sky before this show, and I was like, well, she's the one that's got the advantage going in for it. You was one as well, and like I just felt to myself like, well, it is the underdog story. She needs the win, and like she's sort of like the one that's the third wheel all the time. And it felt like that as well. She was the only one that didn't have the special entrance as well. If you notice, with the 3 women coming out, as soon as Michael Cole announced that Bianca is not undefeated at WrestleMania, I'm sorry, but I know that it's been said by Pierre. It does count. It's at a WrestleMania. It is a kickoff. She didn't win. It counts now for my books. I was I'm
going to argue this because at one of the SummerSlams, Survivor Series, the New Day wins a match in the kickoff show, and it's not counted towards the final score. So I'm going to say no to that. That you can't have it for one and not for the other.
I knew you was going to say that, but Vince is gone. He's long gone. He's never coming back. So it counts. Triple H would not do that bad booking, would he? Anybody? There's no flaws of his booking, is there? We've seen a couple on this show. But at the same time, though, like I just want to see Belair then be the one pin, because I was like, this isn't a proper undefeated streak anymore. I need to see it just not happen now. So Io winning for me, I wanted her to win as well. I didn't want Rhea to win. I didn't think it was the right time. So I actually really popped out of my seat when that happened. I think Belair now can then really turn heel on SmackDown. There's more motivation for that character to be disliked more, because she now will see, well, I've been screwed out of this as well. Fans are not going to be inside of us. I think that's going to be fun with the storytelling moving forward. I'm quite interested with that. And it's how then they can keep Rhea and Bianca apart long enough to try and do this match at WrestleMania next year, the singles match. But they may have to do it before. It may have to be a SummerSlam match.
It may have to be a trio of matches, if I'm honest, because I wouldn't be against seeing this at like SummerSlam, Rumble, and then Mania. Do it 3 times. Why the hell not?
Absolutely.
But just the only thing I would say is don't put a title on the line until the 3rd one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that way then the title, it means something at the end as well. And maybe you can add a stipulation at the end of it as well. Maybe can make it quite interesting. So yeah, I would be quite on board with that. But yeah, phenomenal match to kick things off for night 2. For me, easiest 5-star I've given, I think.
Oh, wow. I only went 4.5. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's phenomenal. And like, obviously you've set the standard for the rest of the show to try and follow now. I don't know. I went 4.5. I don't know why. Don't ask me, but that's what I've gone with.
Nah, that's fair. That's fair. I've seen Pierre up here has gone for a 4.5, well, 9 out of 10. Works out to 4.5, so it's matching the candidate as well.
There you go.
We've got coming here from Denis. I want to say there, Denis, thanks for joining us. As I guess Dangerous Alliance by Paul Heyman is in the making. Wow, just wow. Becky as Medusa. Wow, amazing. I love that reference. It's very 92. Loving that old school there. Putting everyone on Team Rollins and rivals with Team Punk and Team Roman. It's not about titles anymore. It's something bigger. Power or dominance. Imagine Becky in that position. Paul Heyman. I'll keep it clean, but he's a genius. WWE is brewing fire, hopefully. Love those comments there. That's exactly the exact excitement I've got with this new Paul Heyman group, and it's shared there in a couple of comments. And yeah, loving the Medusa reference, because she was a part of that group as well. We need to do a Dangerous Alliance watch-along. War Games from 92 NXT. Are you in?
Dude, count me in. Just tell me when.
Comments, yes or no? Dangerous Alliance, should we do it or not as a watch along? If there's enough yeses, we'll do it. And we will do it in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, back on to course. Then we got a Sin City Street Fight on the way for us next. Then Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, where there was quite a few toys available for this one. I thought it was quite fun. I quite like the violence aspect of it. Especially
it was refreshing because it was different from every other match on the card.
It really felt like it. I mean, there was tables, there was stairs, there was chairs. It was a good one. Drew McIntyre got the selfie in again. He didn't learn from last year's WrestleMania, but he got away with it this year. Damian Priest looked like he was going to do the Undertaker style of walking the top rope old school and end up suffering by being pushed through 2 tables on the outside. And possibly my favorite spot of the entire WrestleMania, Damian trying to get back into the ring, claymored into that chair into the corner. That was a sick looking spot, and I've got to say,
great.
I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, man, that's it. It was like I said, it was something different from the rest of the whole weekend. They got tables and chairs and whatever else involved, and obviously, like, it seems to be Drew's lucky charm is tweeting at WrestleMania gets in the dub apparently. But yeah, this was this is a year in the making, this match, and I'm glad that these two are finally done with now and we can move on with this. But you're right, it was like, I don't know if I rated this higher than what it should have been, because obviously I've just come off that main event. I went with a 4 on this, and I'm thinking to myself, was it really worth that much? I think it's like I'm still running off the buzz of the first match that maybe I rated it too high. But then, like you said, you go back and watch it, and it's such a fun match, and it's not like it's about the story. It's just about 2 guys wanting to absolutely beat 7 bells out of each other. And I think that's just what I enjoyed about it. Like I didn't have no an anticipation about the story. It was just 2 guys that just wanted to fight.
Absolutely, yeah. And for me, it ticked all the boxes in doing so as well. I gave it a 3.25. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. I thought that, again,
I'm definitely come off the high of the previous match then.
But I felt the high as well. I did find the high as well with the previous match, but I don't know, if I try and compare it to some of the matches that I've rated in the past, I don't put it higher than perhaps some of the others I've given 3.75 match ratings, if you know what I mean. So, but no, if it was a terrific match though, really good fun. I thought this was exactly what I hoped it would be, because a lot of people soured on it. It was first made. I always thought stipulation, this will make it work. It really did connect well with the audience, I felt. And right winner, I think Drew McIntyre can go back into a title scene somewhere. I do worry about Damian Priest though. It didn't look like it was too difficult to put him away. Does he need to turn heel? Does he need to go back to a Judgment Day? Or does he just, what does he do? Go to the mid-card?
He needs a character reinvention. Or if anything, do you know what I think is actually best? He needs to be in a tag team for a bit. Or give him someone like, I don't know, like, you need something for him that keeps him kind of out of the main event scene in a minute, because he just doesn't fit in. Unless you're going to put him on the Jey Uso side of it all. Like, maybe that's something they can do at some point, because I can't see him getting back in a minute. And then the only other option is the mid-card scene, which wouldn't be too bad for Priest. That it's not like he's going to be suffered or anything from it, and a run with an IC or a US title could be a good thing for him.
How about actually feeding with Jacob Fatu? That could be fun.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be quite fun. Speaking of fun, we've got some yeses coming in for that watch along for the Dangerous Alliance. So watch this space. Watch this space. Turn on notifications. You'll know when the videos are released here. Subscribe as well to the channel. Hit the like button if you're enjoying so far. PS says, since he turned heel, Drew McIntyre, one of the best characters in WWE right now. Would have to agree with that. And we move on to the following match after that, which was the 4-way for the IC title. Bron Breakker, Penta. Penta's got such a great entrance, by the way. Freaking love it. Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. Freaking brilliant fatal 4-way. The pace didn't let up in this one either. Chemistry was great all around.
Can we talk about Finn Balor's washing up gloves that he was wearing on the way to the ring, though? His yellow marigolds. Like, he come out, and I'm like, is Finn Balor got his schedule wrong? This is a wrestling match, not time to do housework.
To be fair, I think it's very well noted, and the fact that Finn didn't win this match probably means he wasn't prepared well enough. So you could be onto something. Yeah, go on.
It's just we've gone from one. We've got a great triple threat. We've had a great singles match. Now we get a fatal 4-way, and this is just as crazy as everything else. Like the spots in this alone. Like there's a point where Bron just appears from nowhere. It's like Penta ends up flying from something, and then Bron is just there, and I'm like, where the hell has he come from? It's just so much fun, man. Like I said, Bron double Germans Penta and Finn. Bron double suplexes Finn and Don. Bron hits a Frankensteiner on Finn on the top rope. Dom tries a 619, and there's which Finn reverses. Penta then does a Canadian Destroyer on Finn. Bron, this dude. I'm gassed out now. We've just had 3 great matches, and it's stressful talking about how good these matches are. Like we've just had night 1, which has been so mediocre. We have that fantastic main event, and then to come off night 2, and you've just got 3 consistently banger matches. It's just unreal, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Carlito going through the table with Bron just throwing himself into another spear was just great. Yeah, I mean, just the dives over the ropes as well. And there was that moment, obviously, where Dom just saw Finn Balor near the ropes, and everyone just literally cheered with the idea that once he went and do the 619, Finn wasn't having it, though. Obviously, went to go for the frog splash later in the match. Finn pulled the ropes, if I'm not mistaken, to stop Dom from doing the frog splash towards the end there. And obviously, we got a moment where it looked like Finn was going to pick up the victory doing the coup de grace. And just see that went for the pinfall. That's when Dom hit his frog splash and got the pinfall victory. So, yeah, pinning Finn Balor to win the IC title. And, of course, the crowd singing, dirty, dirty Dom, dirty, dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom.
That felt like watching Zack Ryder win the IC title back at WrestleMania 30. So the place went mental. It's definitely the right time for Dom to be IC champion.
Do you remember when people used to hate that guy? Like, literally, less than a month ago, was being booed every time he got on the mic and every time he was in a ring. And then as soon as the idea of him being in a 4-way for the IC title, everyone's like, we all secretly want Dom to win this IC title, right? And the fact that he gloats at the end, he goes running back to the ring afterwards to celebrate, and then he does I don't know if you've seen the post Mania with Pat McAfee when he's like, "I'm the best luchador ever. I'm better than my dad. I'm already a Hall of Famer, and I ain't even gone in yet." And I'm just like, he's going to be so arrogant and so fun to watch. And then you just go to tie into Raw the fact that he has a singles match with Penta, and Finn, you can just see, is so outcasted at the minute. And obviously after Liv and Raquel winning their titles back, just honestly, Finn is the sore thumb there. Finn has got to go, people.
And even with JD McDonough returning as well to help the fact that Finn would return, you think like, well, JD will be with Finn because they were together in Ireland together, and actually, no, it feels like, no, come on, celebrate. Dom's got the title, and I'm back here, JD. I'm happy he's won. Finn's like, yeah, you get in here now, and it's like, if I have to, like, it's just, yeah. But I think it's a great dynamic. It's a great storyline. I thought we'd already get to the kick out of Balor the night after Mania, but they're making us wait a little bit at this moment. But
I think we have to get a one-on-one match between Finn and Dom first.
I think it could be coming. I think I feel like every time we say the word SummerSlam, it feels like it's a long way away, but it's not that long. It's not that. It was like 3 months away. Probably about 12 to 14 weeks away. They could easily drag it out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it goes that far. I think if you've got Backlash and then I think Money in the Bank's probably a more sounder bet.
Well, yeah, you have a load of people then thrown into Money in the Bank ladder matches. There's a space for an IC title match on that show, which would kind of help it. So it's certainly a possibility. Then he's saying that audiences are unpredictable. Dirty Dom has become famous overnight, which is crazy. Is he a babyface now or a tweener? Can't tell. I think we have to wait until next week, and that's when we get a better idea again of where Dom's going to be on the spectrum, because WrestleMania crowds, they're from all over the world, and they usually like to hijack these shows anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where
I hope they still boo the hell out of him when he does a promo. I would love that relationship for Dom where they cheer when he wins, but as soon as he picks up a mic, they boo the hell out of him and just tell him to shut up. I think it'd be so refreshing.
Absolutely, yeah. Would be fun to see. Do you think the Judgment Day has got stale? Do you reckon that we need some new factions in WWE?
No. I think they need to establish more factions. I think Judgment Day has been the best faction for the last calendar year in terms of coming from Mania last year and having Rhea and Priest as world champions. They were tag team champions. and then they kick Rhea out. They've had the most they've had the best terms and storylines in terms of build. They've held a lot of gold this year. I think they've been the best faction, and long may it continue, man. Like I said, Finn needs a singles run now, or he needs a tag team run with AJ or something, man. He just needs to get back out and start winning some matches.
He needs a PLE win, judging below here. It's a long time since he's won a PLE match. I actually think that that's not even WrestleMania 38, actually. I think that it's actually referring to Extreme Rules, which I believe was in September, October, possibly. I want to say. It was not long after Capital Carnage, if I'm not mistaken. So, and yeah, yes, remind us that Ray is a dad. Always. Wouldn't even face out the Americano, but it did give Dirty Dom the best weekend ever, apparently. So that's always something to celebrate.
I went with 4.25. 4.25, by the way, for me for this. I loved it.
4 for me. Yeah, I thought it was freaking amazing. And then we got Randy Orton's mystery opponent revealed, and it turned out to be none other than TNA World Champion Joe Hendry. Not gonna lie, I saw your message. Now, so this is now where you kind of break out of the review and just personal stories here. I woke up for work because I work very early in mornings in the European time zone, so I couldn't watch this show live. And there was a moment where I saw my phone and I just saw, oh my God, 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 and just continually for about 6 lines from you. And I was like, whoever this person is going to be taking on Randy Orton.
Something like that.
Something like that. And I was like, whoever this person is, I cannot wait to get home from work to see who this person is, because I was avoiding my phone all day. I was not going to have it spoil. And yeah, I just, when I saw it, I was like, well, who could it be? Because I was like, we want Nick Aldis. And I was like, that could make that reaction. Obafemi might make NXT cheer a little bit. Hank and Tank would be a stretch, but maybe would cheer for it at least. But I thought myself, last but not least, then who could it be? And when Joe Hendry's music went, oh, that's perfect. That's really fun. It's great to see him get an opportunity like this, but obviously the match doesn't last very long. It's not a squash, though.
He had WrestleMania merch. How insane is that? A TNA wrestler has WrestleMania merch. I don't think people realize how how specific and unique that is. And like, dude, no way is it squash. But Joe Hendry gets his stuff in. Squash match is one guy completely dominating the other. Joe Hendry gets his stuff in. The only problem is just Joe Hendry's character, unfortunately, is his downfall, and it leads to the taunt and the turn and the zoom in, and all of a sudden Randy just appears and RKOs it. It's great. Look,
phenomenal.
The TNA World Champion cannot be suffering from losing to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Impossible. Randy is like a 30-year veteran and like has been there. And this is like you said, this is 20th WrestleMania match. And it's like, how does losing to Randy Orton do him any harm? It doesn't, man. This was great. The entrance was fantastic. The crowd pop was amazing. I mean, I did a TikTok video and I suggested like 12 names, and I had people like Nick Aldis and Goldberg and Solo Sikoa and whoever else. And honestly, Joe Hendry wasn't even like a thought. And it was like, how I didn't think of Joe Hendry, I don't know. But it's just one of them ones where you're like, nah, they won't do Joe Hendry, not at WrestleMania. And then they bloody did it, man.
It's incredible. Really good fun. Look, okay, yes, it's not a long match, but like you say, the execution of how it was done, I think, protects him well enough. And it doesn't matter. Randy Orton's a 14-time world champion. He's main event countless WrestleManias. Joe Hendry is going to be fine. The only thing I will say is, and there's a couple of comments coming, I'm going to bring them up about Joe Hendry in a minute, because my question was, where does Joe Hendry go from here? Because he's done a Royal Rumble, he's done a WrestleMania, he's not even signed to WWE. It's almost felt is that a ceiling for Joe Hendry? Where do they go from here? But thank you, Roy, for this comment. According to YouTuber Tom Collier, does some digging as well, some journalistic views. They said WWE are going all out to buy out Joe Hendry's TNA contract and make John Cena versus Joe Hendry. A match Joe Hendry wants, by the way. He called out John Cena on a Chris Van Vliet interview and said that he's talked to John Cena, said he wants this match. Could you see something like this happening?
I honestly would love it. The only problem is while the hardcore fans know who Joe Hendry is, and don't get me wrong, having a debut at Mania like that for casual fans is really good, because a lot of people are going to be like, well, who is this Joe Hendry guy? The problem they're going to have is the build, and they've got to make Joe Hendry a reasonable and a good enough opponent for someone like John Cena to face, especially with the story that John Cena was going through. So the point is how do you get Joe Hendry to be on that level where he deserves to be going up against John Cena?
Absolutely, yeah. I kind of agree with that idea. Obviously, moments like this is going to help because people then will look into him and see more of his work. If they can do a John Cena versus Joe Hendry match, I think that's the pinnacle that's left for Joe Hendry this year.
Yeah.
Would be awesome. I wouldn't be surprised to see the match happen. The only thing I would say is, and this is something, if John Cena, I know he says he wants to ruin wrestling, but if he really deep down wants to give back to wrestling, wants to do something different, how about instead of it being done in WWE, how weird would it be to see John Cena go to TNA? Talk about Slammiversary main event.
We have a clip of that, dude. We literally had this same conversation months ago. In fact, I think it's on my TikTok where I turn around and say, how insane would it be if John Cena turned up in TNA and faced Joe Hendry for that World Championship? We've had that discussion.
We are having it repeated for you, especially here for WrestleMania weekend. And yeah, we've said it before. It should happen. We want it to happen. Let's see if it does or it doesn't. But it'd be quite cool indeed. But yeah, Joe Hendry's done a great little spell indeed. We move on in the meantime. Oh, start rating for Randy Orton, Joe Hendry.
5 stars. Look, right, I don't like reading spoilers, and when you can pop me like a Joe Hendry debut, 5 stars, brother. I don't care about the match. It was about the moment, and it was a 5-star moment.
It was a 5-star moment. I've got to say, it's worth following NXT on TikTok to see that alone. It's incredible.
My reaction, great. It's a bit of an F-bomb in there, but excuse that.
I was tempted to download it and put it on this video, but I want people to go to TikTok to go and see it. It's worth going and doing. I'm going to give it. Look, I'm going to give it like a 2.5-star rating just because of the fact it's what it is. But for the moment, yeah, it's 5 stars. Brilliant. AJ Logan Paul didn't connect with me the way I wanted it to. It was a fine wrestling match. There's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like AJ's never going to have that WrestleMania 5-star classic. It's just not going to seem to come at this point. Obviously, there was a moment where this match it looked like AJ had it going pretty well. Obviously, he was given the Styles Clash, but it was done quite weakly, so he gave Logan it back. We saw one of the entourage of Logan Paul come out trying to help Logan Paul, and it was cut off by Karrion Kross. And AJ Styles cut it off, got this guy away, and that's when Kross gave Styles the brass knuckles, and Styles was given the choice whether to do the right thing or the wrong thing, chose to do the right thing, and that led into his downfall, and he was hit with Logan Paul's finishing move, which I forget what it's called right now.
The Pulverizer.
That's the one. Decent enough match. Thought it was fine. Is it a bit wrong that WWE do the same storyline twice on the same night of doing the right thing or the wrong thing? The same thing happened in the main event.
See, for me, I'm hoping that this is where I'm a bit conflicted with my match rating, because I gave this a 3.5 because I thought the story narrative and obviously the build with this, I was really intrigued by it. And then obviously you talk about Karrion Kross's promo, like the video, in the interview after he does, where he actually says "Killer Kross." I'm like, oh my god, are we getting a repackage of Kross here? And we're going to get some decent like Karrion Kross stuff on TV? And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking that the story was the more important aspect of this match rather than the match itself. And the fact that you have AJ so conflicted with the knuckle duster and Kross is telling him to do it. And he gets the pop being the whole, like he's from Las Vegas and stuff like that. And you're just like, I'm hoping for bigger things going forward. I don't think this match was necessarily about the match of Logan Paul. If anything, I feel Logan Paul was a filler and was just in this match for the sake of, look, they need to get Logan Paul on the card somewhere. Let's put him against AJ, but AJ has a bigger story outside. So I think that's probably what it is more. And I don't know, man. Like, I mean, Jonesy told me that apparently Kross and AJ's contracts are reportedly up in September. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, unless Cross is going into business for himself, I'd hope that they both get re-signed and there is a long-term story for these two. So, although I don't think it was the greatest match, and like you said, that the fact that they do the same thing twice, like I even put in my notes, I think if this was on night one, this would have probably fared better in terms of match rating, match quality, because this is considerably better than everything else that we get on night one, except for the main event. Like, to me, this is probably, aside from obviously the match quality of Joe Hendry versus Randy Orton, this is probably the worst match on night two. And I think if they'd had this on night one, this would have done better. And obviously, like you said, the conflicting story wouldn't have been a problem. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm just hoping that there's a bigger goal in the long term with these two.
Yeah, I hope so as well. I mean, I don't think Cross gets away with saying all that stuff if it's not approved before. I think we'd be hearing completely different things coming out today. So I think all of that's approved. I think they're trying to get crossover one more time before the contract expires, and then there's a choice they're meant to make if the contract is up, whether to keep him, whether to let him go. Same with Scarlett. And I think right now people want to see Cross push, which is quite cool. AJ has that story going. Logan Paul can move on to something else. Logan Paul could even go on against Jey Uso. That's what that win at WrestleMania you could do for Logan Paul. Do I want to see Logan Paul in a world title match? No, but you know what? It'd be something that could get Jey Uso over a bit further in the start.
World champion at some point.
It probably will happen at some point. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what will go down. But the match was okay. Match wasn't bad. I'm going to give it a 2.75.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it a 3. Like I said, I think that the story was the bigger deal than it was the actual match.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's move on then to the other surprise. Again, 2 surprises on the same show. Should that have happened with the fact that we learned Lyra needed a new tag team partner when Bayley was taken out?
See, again, I'm a bit conflicted with this because while the return is fantastic in itself, why didn't they just do Bayley versus Roxanne Perez at Stand and Deliver then? Because like Roxanne Perez is on the kickoff show of Stand and Deliver and doesn't even make WrestleMania or Stand and Deliver. And same with Bayley. And yet they've had a story been building since the Rumble. It's a really weird missed opportunity for me. And again, although I'm very shocked that we've had the titles change hand twice in the space of 2 days, the longer goal seems to be the Becky heel turn. And it's kind of like, yeah, I can accept a women's tag team hot potato in 2 days. If anything, it's probably the most relative thing they've done with it in 2 days and they have all year. So I'm okay with that. I think I'm more just annoyed that they took Bayley off of the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, could it lead to a way of actually the Roxanne Perez did this and that's how they reignite their feud now after WrestleMania, because Roxanne could say you took my distraction of where I was going towards WrestleMania, ended up not doing anything to Stand and Deliver because of you. Could be a way they could do it. Or simply it was Becky, because Becky's been a bit dastardly. She's got herself into this tag team title match, won the titles, lost it the next night on Raw, and that's when she turned heel on Lyra. So there is ways and means around it. I personally am fine with it. I feel that the women's tag team titles felt a bit directionless, and I felt that for a couple of nights they felt pretty darn important with Becky Lynch A, holding them, and B, then losing them the next night. Liv Morgan and Raquel can go on. They've had so many title reigns already, and that's their 4th reign now, is it? They want to be the most title wins of ever and greatest team ever. So this just adds their stock more of the way that WWE looks at this stuff of how many times you hold a title. Lyra was built up by teaming with Becky, and now Becky will probably build Lyra up as well by having a match against her. So, I mean, this surely has to be win-win for Lyra Valkyria in story terms and her career in WWE.
Yeah, but then why do the whole Bayley tease in the heel turn on Lyra when she lost to her? This is, again, it leads back to the whole Bayley thing. Like, because I don't think Bayley made the WrestleMania card last year, did she? 2 years in a row, Bayley's not been on the WrestleMania card.
She was on it last year. She would beat Io Sky at WrestleMania 40 for the women's world title last year, or the women's title last year. But there has been many occasions that Bayley's not been around.
Many occasions where Bayley's not been on it, and it's like, what's Bayley doing to not get on the WrestleMania card? And like I said, I've been saying for months, dude, Bayley versus Roxanne Perez and Stand and Deliver made the most sense. It was the most built story that Bayley had going all year.
Absolutely. The only thing I will say as well, though, then, if we take Bayley out of the equation, is that she gave some purpose to this match as well, because Liv and Becky had history and it was a way of actually executing a match of
Yeah.
having Becky turn up as a surprise. So that worked pretty
I
darn
suppose.
well. It helped protect the champions in defeat as well, because they did not expect Becky, but they were prepared for the next night on Raw, and they got the job done and won the titles back. So I think there's logic all around in the story. You get a good match out of it. I agree the
Yeah.
Bailey thing is a bit, but at the same time, they wanted to protect and do something with it. A lot of big stars were not on WrestleMania this year, which just goes to show that now there's so much star power in WWE. Not everyone's going to get on WrestleMania every single year, so it's something we just need to look out for. Sami Zayn, KO, carrying cross if you
Bronson
want,
Reed.
Bronson Reed, Solo Sikoa,
Braun
who's
Strowman, White Six.
so many that could have. Carmelo Hayes was a first round draft pick for SmackDown. The Miz was not there either. So I mean, there's so many, and obviously last minute pulls with Rey Mysterio as well. So there are many big names that did not make the WrestleMania card this year. So it is what it is. But for the tag team match itself, I thought that 2.5-star match, but certainly the moment, the pop, the feeling of it had its place, and it did well for me on that.
Yeah, I did slightly better. I did do it in 2 3/4. I think again for the Bailey pop in the moment.
I liked Lyra's wings as well, just to be a bit out there.
Oh yeah, looked like a giant pigeon or giant dove.
They certainly did indeed. Well, we've covered the entire WrestleMania 2 nights there, so now it's time to go into what we usually do around the end of these streams, and that's when we start to dive in. First off, new one here. Which night was better, night 1 or night 2?
Night 1 has the main event, but night 2 in terms of overall quality is better.
Completely agree, 100%.
That's a once a year question, that one.
As a once a year question. Although we will be doing it for SummerSlam later this year as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
OMG moment of the weekend, not of the night.
Oh, I thought we was doing entrance.
I started that, and then I went to actually in order.
OMG moment is going to be one of 2. I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it to Joe Hendry being Randy Orton's opponent.
Love it. Love it.
As much as I should give it to that BFT reversal of a somersault was great, but
I'm going for EO winning, because I just didn't. I just genuinely was convinced Bianca was winning, and when EO did it, it's very rare I pop out of my seat and I cheer for something. I've been a fan for a long time, so to do that now, that did something. So yeah, it stuck with me. So I'm going to go for that. Match of the night or match of the weekend.
I know what you're going to say, so I'm going to say Bailey versus Rio versus Io. Bianca versus Rio versus Io. Sorry, got Bailey on the brain there.
I'm torn between that match and night 1 main event.
Say night 1 main event, and they both win.
Night 1 main event it is then.
There we go.
There we done. Entrance of the weekend.
Could easily say Joe Hendry, but it is CM Punk. That video package and the moment just was amazing.
I could easily say El Grande Americano, but you're right, it is CM Punk.
Yeah.
MVP of the weekend.
MVP of WrestleMania weekend. Wow, what a loaded question. Do you
loaded.
know what? Seth Rollins.
I like it.
Although there is a shout for EO, but I'm going to say Seth just because, like, the subtle hints and his work in that main event and the storytelling that he done to deliver that main event, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something with that. I'm trying to think if there is a better option throughout the shows. Austin
driving that ATV.
No, we've not mentioned that. Just for potential lawsuit purposes, we won't make a mention of it with the attendance thing. Pretty sure when Nick Khan was at the front row, he said his first name was Tony. Anyway, MVP.
Come on, who's your MVP? Come on.
I will say Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman played his role at ringside very well, so I'll go with Heyman. Final rating, we'll do this in a level of 3. So final rating out of 10 for night 1, please.
For night 1, I'm gonna say a 6. I think the main event is the saving aspect of the show for night 1.
Agreed. 6 for me as well. Night 2.
Better on a whole, I'm gonna say an 8.5. I think it starts really hot and just progressively jumps down. And I think that although the main event is the right result, I think it's poorly executed. So I would say 8.5.
It's weird and scary how we feel the same, 8.5 as well. So
Yeah.
does that mean that we're 7.5 then for the overall rating for WrestleMania 41?
6, 8.5. Yeah, it's about 7.75. 6, yeah, 7.25, maybe something like that. Yeah, 7.25.
There we are. That's our starting math for you. We're sticking to it. So there we go.
Fantastic.
We'll go through a couple of moments here. Match of the week, and for Pierre was the triple threats. Said that Joe Hendry entrance, night 2. Love the CM Punk entrance. MVP, Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio. And also, question was last night's Raw After Mania, was it the greatest Raw After Mania of all time?
No, because I felt Rusev coming back and being involved in the tag team division seems a bit stupid when he doesn't have a tag team partner. I think, like I said, I think the main event is the saving grace of the show. There's not really a lot else on there apart from Rusev's return and maybe Roxanne Perez and Julia showing up during the women's match.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the Pierre's mentioned it higher up, but the Stephanie Vaca Io Sky match, dang, was so happy about that. That was awesome. Freaking loved it. And yeah, I mean, like it was a great Raw. There's some really good moments. Obviously, the Dangerous Alliance thing at the end there as well. And yeah, it's a solid show from top to bottom. But I do think there are some stronger Raw After Manias in around the 2010s. They're like around 2012, 2013. They were like at their peak at that moment. So I would say those are
that injury as well.
Yeah. But this one's up there. I would say this is easily the best in the last 7-8 years or so with ease.
Yeah, this is it's very yeah. It's been booked right with some surprises and even the tag team titles changing, and it was a good Raw After Me. It's probably one of the better ones they've had in recent years.
Certainly was indeed. We thoroughly enjoyed it overall, and well, I think we're going to call it there tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we've gone nearly 2 hours. I think it's a good place to stop. But quickly, NXT Stand and Deliver. Literally, if we can review it in about 2 or 3 minutes, just to say, really enjoyed the triple threat with Obafemi, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams. The tag team match as well was freaking awesome as well with Fraxium and Hank and Tank. Really solid with those 2 matches. I thought they were the highlights of Stand and Deliver.
Dude, great show. Probably, like I said, the best booked show all weekend. To say Ricky Saints and Ethan Page is the worst match and it's still a good match just shows how good that show is, man.
Absolutely. Love the ladder match win as well for Sol Ruka. It felt like it was her right time as well to win the title. I think that the 4-way with the women was fantastic for the title also.
My initial pick.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Stand and Deliver, and obviously Channing Sachs Lorenzo did the dirty on Tony D'Angelo as well for Dark State to pick up the victory. I think that's all in all. If you had to give like let's do that quickly, like a full rating out of 10, what would you give Stand and Deliver?
8.5 again. I think it's solid. I think there's just a couple of details. Like I said, the opening match isn't the best match, but it's still good. And the D'Angelo family versus Dark State is more about the D'Angelo family story than it is about the quality in ring. But the tag team match and the main event are definitely show stealers.
Which is the main match of the night?
Triple threat, Javon versus Over versus Trick.
I freaking loved that match. I have to agree with you. Javon Evans, my God, it was a breakout performance from him on that particular night.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. I actually think he would. We've been talking about Trick Williams could lead Dark State. I actually think Javon Evans would be awesome in that role as well. The fact he's getting everyone to look out for this group, protect them, actually secretly being the one leading them, I think would be quite a cool little story going forward. But that's all from us anyway. Thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed our WrestleMania review, our Raw After Mania review, broken in between as well. And of course, we'll just give you a very short review at the end of it as well. Sorry if we not got through all the comments tonight. It's not usually the standard. We like to try and make it your show and try and get you involved. But you can see we've been here for nearly 2 hours. It's a lot to get through. But we'll try and do a Q&A again very soon as well, so we can get a lot of your input as well with things falling out after WrestleMania. Thank you all for watching. Make sure as well to like, share, share, and subscribe to this channel as well. And also, you can follow myself and NX Steve on TikTok, SCW The Wrestling Channel, as well as NX Steve as well. You can follow me on Instagram, also for SCW The Wrestling Channel for content over there, and X as well. You've got the handle underneath my face here as well, SCW_Steve for SCW The Wrestling Channel. Good news for people. We're going to look to try and mix things up now. WrestleMania season is finished. I am going to try and hopefully bring us some audio platforms back to our station as well. So SCW The Wrestling Channel can be involved with the likes of Spotify and Apple, hopefully in the coming weeks. So keep an eye out for that. It's not going to be something with every video. It'll be more the podcasts, and it won't be all the time. It'll probably be once a week that we do it. But we'll let you know, and we'll keep you updated as and when plans are made official. But thanks all for watching. Look after yourselves and each other. We'll see you for the next one. And who knows, maybe we're predicting WrestleMania 42 sooner than you think.